Meeting of the City Council, April 3rd, regular meeting will come to order. First, let's all stand, face the flag, and render the Pledge of Allegiance. On three. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sanders.
Present.
Councilmember Penna.
Present.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Reed.
Here.
Mayor Whitman.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We will start with subsection C, proclamations and presentations. First, Mr. City Manager,
Yes, sir.
I assume you're going to do the introduction of Mr. Eric Seja.
I am. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. I'm happy to introduce our new Assistant City Manager, Eric Seja. Eric joins Wells with 19 years of municipal experience, have worked in both the cities of La Quinta and Palm Desert. He has extensive experience in economic and community development. With all the new projects we are advancing here in Indian Wells, he's going to be a great addition for those projects. Grew up here in the Valley, went off to college at Sonoma State, where he earned 2 bachelor's degrees, one in economics and another in environmental studies. Also has an MPA from Cal State San Bernardino. Enjoys spending time with his family, his wife Alicia, sons Benjamin, Gabriel, and Emmanuel. He is a baseball fan, which helps in this office.
Go Dodgers.
Now, to that point, he supports the former Oakland A's, which are now the Sacramento A's, who are to be the future Las Vegas A's. So welcome aboard, Eric.
Have team will travel.
Eric, would you like to say a couple of words?
Still getting used to the microphone. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. I'm extremely pleased and happy to be here and honored to be working with the City of Indian Wells. Look forward to working with Chris, the rest of the city staff, getting to know the community and stakeholders better, and of course, working with you and the City Council.
Thank you, Eric. Happy to have you on board.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
C2, the Dr. George Charity Car Show update by co-chair Craig Cortez. Craig? I understand it was another great, successful year.
Thanks to you and a lot of others. I'm here. My name is Craig Cortez. I'm the co-chair. I'm here with Ross McMullen, who is the other co-chair, and John Hill, who's one of our valuable volunteers. He's handing out to you a thank you that we want to give you each. It's what we call a goodie bag. We give these away to all of the participants in the show, and you may recognize it from last year as being very similar, but the graphics are different for this year, and we got such a good deal on them we couldn't resist. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Chris Freeland and his staff for being such great support to us and helping us work through all of the permitting processes and all of that we do. We value their direct input. Give you a little bit of background. The Palm Springs Cruising Association is a car club that started about 35 years ago, and it has evolved into a fundraising organization for charities in the Valley. Not so much, our motto is we use our cars to raise funds for charity. And the Dr. George Show is our showcase charity. There are other charities that we do support, but the Dr. George is by far the most important to us. Over the history of the Dr. George Show, and I think you probably have heard the story about Dr. George, and he was unfortunately killed back in 2002. We had our first show in his honor in 2003, and since that time, we've raised $1.46 million for the Desert Cancer Foundation. And if you know anything about know anything about the Desert Cancer Foundation, that translates into over $14 million worth of care. And so it's our honor and our pleasure to run this show. This year, we had a near record in almost every regard. We had 1,100 cars, a full house, every spot was taken, and we gave a check a couple weeks ago to the Desert Cancer Foundation for $120,000.
Jeez.
And,
Good stuff.
Congratulations.
So that's our mission, our fulfillment. You have a goodie bag that we thank you with. And during the show, we have a section for what we call special interest cars. And these are cars that have got won trophies all over the United States. And as we gain notoriety around the country as being one of the best shows, we have the opportunity to share with other shows and compete with them basically for their attention. This has just been a great area that we've been able to attract some top-notch cars. And we give this to each one of them, and this one is from the 2025 show, and we would be honored for you to put this in your trophy case as a memento from us.
Great.
And
Thank you.
finally, I'd like to say we're looking forward to February 14th, 2026. That's our next show. It's always on the second Saturday of February. And we solicit your prayers for good weather like we had this year. But otherwise, we look forward to working with Chris and Ken and the staff to get a head start on that. We'll begin working on it almost immediately. So thank you again for all that you have done to support us. You'll find a nice big ad in the program, full page ad for Indian Wells, the city of Indian Wells. So thank you again for everything.
Well, thank you.
Thank
you, Craig.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dr. George show is great. Brian, hold on a second. Brian, you went over to the show and presented the award this year, didn't you?
This year, yes.
Yes.
In your honor, Mayor Whitman.
Can you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, it was amazing. I've been building cars for 30 years now and been to the big ones, Cruising for a Cure, Labor Day, Pleasanton, and I had never been to this show before, and I was shocked how big it was and how well it was put together. So congrats to you guys.
Okay, and Mr. Hanson, I believe you have a presentation.
I do. Ever since the car show came to Indian Wells, the Indian Wells Rotary has been a participant. We sell beer there every year. Some of the council members and the city manager knows that very well. By selling the beer, it allows us in part to fund scholarships to Cal State San Bernardino Palm Desert campus. So we're here today to thank the Dr. George Carr Show and the Palm Springs Cruising Association. And with that, and the two ladies, by the way, who are with me, is the current president, Dorothy Hamilton, and the future president, Cherie Martian. And gentlemen, thank you. As a small token of our appreciation, here's a contribution to the Palm Springs Cruising Association for allowing us to sell beer. We really, it's been a great relationship. Ross, as you know, going back to the days when we first got started on Warner Trail, and we were supplying seed and grass cutting and everything else. So it's been a long road for us, and we really appreciate it. We look for a long-term relationship with you as well.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor and Council and City Manager
Thank
for
you, Doug.
allowing us to make that presentation today.
Thank you, Doug. All right,
We're going to give each one of them a goodie bag too. We have a few
okay.
extra.
Great.
All right, well, moving on. I saw Jesse Ramirez come in the back door there. Jesse, this is an update for the legislative review by our Cal Cities Regional Director, Jesse Ramirez. Jesse?
City Council, Mayor, thank you for having me today. I have an update for you guys as well as some reminders for some upcoming events. This slide here, let me see here. Yeah, okay, so this is about a year's worth of information in this PowerPoint. I'm gonna kind of go through a few bills that I think are important, but more importantly.
We only have 6 months.
I know. I know. We have City Leaders Summit coming up. So we've already scheduled meetings with all of our assembly folks, all of our senators. I will be working with your staff for those that are attending to make sure that you're included in those meetings. And so we look forward to a good time in Sacramento. The next event we have coming up is our City Spring Conference with City Attorneys, May 7th through 9th, our annual conference and expo, and I'm gonna bring it back to a local level here. We have our next division meeting May 19th in the city of Indio. This will be in collaboration with the Imperial Valley Division. It's the first time it's been done by our division, and we'll be getting a legislative update from Assembly Member Jeff Gonzalez. He's agreed to come down and speak to our group on that Monday night. The flyers should be going out Monday. But we look forward to having you all there. I know there's some conflict with, I believe it's SCI or SCSC is a development conference out in Las Vegas, which starts that Sunday. But if you're able to make it, we're going to have a good time, especially with the Imperial Division. I'm going to run through a couple bills here. And first of all, before I get started on this, I want to congratulate the council and staff for putting together this legislative platform. I can't express to you how important that is for us to do our job. There were a few instances last year where the legislator pushed through a few bills very last minute that were going to impact several of our cities, and they were not able to get letters of support or opposition in time because they didn't have the platform that you guys have. I'm actually going to take this platform and share it with the rest of my colleagues across the state so that other cities can look at this and implement that as well. And I'll be sharing this with my city managers on our next call, which we can discuss in more detail on our call tomorrow. But I will tell you, it's extremely important for cities to have this, and I love the way you guys laid it out. It's just, it makes our job, it makes us more efficient in what we're doing to help represent you in Sacramento. So thank you for that. I also want to let you know that we've got our eyeballs on AB 1407, which is a bill with Greg Wallace. We're monitoring that, and we're engaged in that as well with your staff. And I want to kind of start with a couple bills. SB 569, you should have gotten a Word document in your agenda packet there, but SB 569 Blakesphere is a Homeless Encampment Collaboration Act. This started down in San Diego and then moved up to Riverside this year, where those cities received grant funding from the governor and for homelessness encampments. They go to do the homelessness encampment cleanup, and they were denied by Caltrans. And so it moved both of those cities to work with Blakesphere here, Senator Blakesphere, to put together a bill requiring state agencies to work with cities on homeless encampment cleanups. This is a big bill that we're sponsoring. This is a bill that Cal Cities is happy to sponsor. We've gotten some great support so far, and we're looking forward to moving that through the Senate. The next bill, which is a great bill also that we're sponsoring, is AB 650, Planning and Zoning Housing Elements, Regional Housing Needs Allocation. This bill will be amended to significantly improve the housing element review process by encouraging local jurisdictions to begin planning earlier and providing greater clarity and certainty to a difficult and complex process. AB 650 would allow local jurisdictions to begin the housing element update process 6 months earlier than what is required under existing law. Incentive local jurisdictions to submit their draft housing element to HCD 180 days sooner than required by law, and required HCD to provide written communications that identify specific deficiencies in the draft. And this, by the way, is a follow-up to the HCD audit that was happening last year. And we're hoping that that audit helps really speed this momentum along. Another bill that I think is really important for you folks here in Indian Wells and the community here is through Rev and Tax, is Ben Trifio, is SB 346, which is a Durazo bill. Local agencies, transit occupancy taxes on short-term rental facilitators. This measure would, if a local agency chooses to opt in, require short-term rental platforms upon request to provide an APN of a listing to a local agency, require publishing of the local license number and transient occupancy tax certification on the short-term rental listing, and would authorize an audit authority to local agencies when TOT is collected. Interestingly enough, these operators have kind of gotten a little, I guess, loopholey in the way they're operating. When this was being presented in committee, Assemblymember Chen, who's out of Irvine, pulled up on the map an Airbnb that was on the John Wayne Airport runway. And so what folks are doing is they're clicking on that link, which will take you to a house in Irvine. And so there's no way to track all of that. And so what this is going to do is give our local jurisdictions the ability to kind of rein that in and collect their TOTs from that. I did send over some information on this so we can get a letter of support, and I'm looking forward to receiving that. Another bill that is really interesting and on our radar there's some amendments to AB 52 as it relates to tribes. Our legal team is putting together an analysis on this. We have not received any redlining yet, but once we do, we'll be certain to send it over to you. But basically, this bill is going to allow tribes to be more involved in the CEQA process while exempting non-federally recognized tribes. And so it's very early on in those conversations, but it's super important for our local cities, especially as it relates to development. So we're definitely going to keep you updated on that. And the last bill I want to leave you with is SB 496, which is an Advanced Clean Fleets Appeal Board. This measure would create an appeals advisory committee made up of state agencies, industry experts, fleets, and local governments to review denied petitions for exemption and extension to the CARB board, basically California Air Resources Board, Advanced Clean Fleets Regulations. So this is a bill that we're supporting. This is a bill that we're going to ask our cities to support. And I want to re-emphasize the fact that it's super important when we work with our cities to get letters of support or opposition in. A lot of the times our lobbyists are meeting with senators or assembly members and saying, hey, this is what we're hearing from our cities. And the response we get from our assembly folks and our senators is, we haven't heard anything. And so when we have those letters, it kind of gives us the receipts to go back and say, hey, this is what our cities are saying and this is what's important to us. Again, there's about 15 or 20 pages on the PowerPoint, and they're all detailed bills. You can click the links on all of those, and they'll be right there for you, ready to read, and they'll have a timeline of where they're at in the first house, second house, Senate, or Assembly. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but those are some of the more important bills that I had to share with you all today.
Any questions? Dr. Taylor.
I would like you to make a note that AB 1407 should be included in this document. I know I didn't see it, but that's an important bill for those of us out in.
Sure, that's the Wallace bill, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will, in fact, we had a conversation with our housing lobbyist about this last week. We're hoping that we can get Cal Cities, as it relates to a statewide Cal Cities, to support that. But I also want to remind you folks that our division, so long as it's presented to our executive committee and our executive approves, we can write also a Riverside County letter of support for this bill, and we plan to do that, and I plan to present that to my executive committee next week. So,
because I do think this bill leads to other ramifications with cities in a similar situation as us, who kind of are locked in land-wise, but can afford potentially to invest in housing in neighboring cities, right?
Yep.
Whether it's Atherton or, you know, Beverly Hills, et cetera.
No, I absolutely will bring that up again, and it's something that I think we've been working on since late last year and early this year, and been having those conversations with a few other cities, actually, so I'll
Please
definitely
let us know
bring
the
that up.
timing of any further meetings on that particular AB 147, because 1407, because we'd be happy to
We
write
also
letters
do
and
have a
push.
bill, or I mean, a meeting with Assemblymember Wallace on the 23rd of
Great.
April for CLS.
Great.
And so we do plan to mention that and bring that bill up as well in that meeting.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Could you,
Yes, sir.
could you give us, for the sake of the audience and others, what 1407 is comprised of, that bill? What it,
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Give me a sec here.
What time is your appointment with Greg on the 23rd? You're going to be there, right?
I think so.
What time is your appointment, do you know?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now.
I didn't mean to.
Let him answer. Let him answer first.
that's okay.
Me first, me.
Yeah, we're meeting with Jeff Gonzalez, the 23rd, 4 to 5. Assemblymember Leticia Castillo from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Mr. Wallace from 1 to 1:30. And I'll make sure that the meetings that you guys want to be plugged in on, I'll get you guys plugged in on those.
That'll be in Sacramento.
Give me a second here.
Okay, now, 1407, just a brief description, so we know what we're talking about.
Yep. I'm sorry, my laptop's lagging on me. This is a bill that I'm not completely 100% familiar with, but we have had conversations about it, and I don't know if there's been any amendments or.
Well, I think Dr. Toper wrote it, didn't
Taylor
you?
could probably tell us.
So,
Or Greg could probably tell us.
yeah, or Chris, do you want to give it a shot?
There's been, well, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so this has been a joint effort of Coachella Valley cities working together to help address the RENA concerns here in the valley, specifically the housing crisis when it relates to students. And so this bill will provide an opportunity for cities to collaborate to create student housing to benefit both the CSU Palm Desert campus, College of the Desert as well, with the hope of the investments made by cities, they'll be able to share their RENA credits in the communities that the money's originating from. Right now, under state law, student housing, one, does not qualify for RENA credit. Second is cities that expend funds outside of their jurisdiction do not get RENA credit. So the idea is to create a pilot program here in the Coachella Valley that shows that we're trying to address a regional issue with regional solutions.
So this potentially would allow us to contribute to building student
Correct.
units
Correct.
outside of our
Outside
city
of your
borders
jurisdiction.
And
and
get
still
RENA
get
credit.
credits.
And get RENA credits, correct.
Okay, for our housing element. Okay.
Correct.
We, by the way, we have a call about this bill next week when Brady gets back Friday. We have a call about this because we're also meeting with Senator Sabrina Cervantes next week. And our hope is that we can get a better definition of where the legislator think this might go. What I'm more afraid of is that by the time there's amendments and this goes through committee, it might look like a bill we don't want. And so making sure that we have Senator Cervantes on board, I think, is going to be crucial for this moving forward. And so as those meetings take place, I'll make sure we keep you all updated on that.
If I may, if you were to look it up online right now on the legislative platform of the state legislature, it's regarding with zoning, I think it is.
Zoning, right.
It's a spot bill that the assembly member put in there, so that way it met the statutory requirements for the originating house, but the intent is to amend it to include that language that we shared with you.
Okay.
Jesse,
Sir.
I have reason to believe that even Senator Weiner may support this bill.
I hope so. I mean, that'd be great. I mean, the more bipartisan support we can get on a bill like this would be great.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. Jesse, has anybody facilitated discussions with the legislative delegation about all of the airborne dust that we've been experiencing since Tropical Storm Hillary blew through here?
You know, it is on the radar. I don't think we've had, as Cal Cities, those conversations. I am very familiar with the air quality and fugitive dust situation just from living in the desert and working for the senator at the time. I know it's been an ongoing issue. And with that said, again, especially on these regional bills, our division, Riverside County Division, collectively with all of our cities can put together letters of support for any legislation moving forward. I was under the impression, I think, that maybe Senator Bogue might be moving forward with some legislation on that. And again, we're here to support. So let us know what you need from the Riverside County Division.
You bet.
For sure.
Thank you.
Is the group meeting with Senator Bogue as well?
We are.
And do you know when?
Yes, sir. I will, and again, I don't know who.
Just let Chris know so that we can put it on our
Perfect.
calendar.
Yeah, that'll be the Thursday, the 24th, by the way.
Oh, that's on Thursday, not Wednesday.
All of our assembly meetings, I scheduled them on Thursday, the 23rd, and all our Senate meetings are on the 24th.
Thank you.
Jesse, even if it's not legislation, just putting some heat on the AQMD to step in and start getting proactive.
I would like to have a conversation about that. We've been working very closely with Patricia Locke Dawson out in Riverside, Mayor Dawson, who's also on the AQMD board and now chair for Big City Mayors. So I'd like to explore those options a little more.
Keep us posted.
I will.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez.
Yes, sir.
Next is the Riverside County Fire Department update by Division Chief Mike Beverlin. Mike?
Good afternoon. Good to see you all again. We have a lot of information to pass on to you, so I'm going to forego talking about kind of the quarterly things. There wasn't anything sticking out of significance. We only ran 10 emergencies to the tennis garden during the event. There were no other significant incidents, and all of the statistics for the quarter pretty much look in line for what I would anticipate. What I would like to cover is, earlier today during the State of the City address, it was obvious to everybody that attended the importance of public safety to the city, to the council, to staff. And so your dedication and support to us really, really is appreciated. As you all probably know, we've been under the review of the Insurance Services Office Fire Department evaluation for about almost a year now. Late on Friday, I got information on what our rating will be, so I'll just let you guys know. So between the 3 Cove community cities jointly, we were evaluated by the Insurance Services Office. The evaluation showed that we had made improvements, and we have improved from a Class 3 fire department to a Class 2 fire department.
Chief, you're selling yourself short. I mean, you're responsible for getting the uptick in the rating, and that's going to inure to the benefit of all of the homeowners here in
And
Wells.
businesses.
And businesses for fire insurance purposes. That's right.
So,
And your efforts are sincerely appreciated. Thank you.
well, I appreciate that, but nothing can get done without the support of all the 3 councils and hours of city staff. Just an amazing group to be able to work with in all 3 cities to help us obtain this new rating. And just to kind of put it into context, there are, in 2023, there were 38,195 cities that have been evaluated by the ISO. And now, with the improved score, we're in the top 6.5% of that nationwide.
Wow.
That's great.
So that's the good stuff. Now we get to talk about the fire severity zone maps that were recently released by the state fire marshal. The Riverside County Fire Department has made the county office of the fire marshal the point group to tackle this. And so, number one, I want to introduce the new Deputy Fire Marshal for the Eastern Operational Area, which is Cole Hetrick. And he will go over a little bit of the fire severity zone information that we want to pass on to you. But please know there's going to be a detailed report given, hopefully, to the Cove Commission later on this month.
Okay.
Cole,
Mr. Hedrick.
welcome. Just push this button and get to your slides.
Perfect.
Good afternoon, distinguished members of the council, city managers, and city staff there. Certainly a privilege for me to be back here in the desert, serving the entire Coachella Valley, collection of cities there, the Deputy Fire Marshal in the office, OFM East office, filling behind Sonia Cooley's retirement in December. So just kind of getting into just brief things as far as the fire hazard severity zones. This is a commission that was presented legislatively to the requirement of the state fire marshal to evaluate the entire state of California as far as their perspective as far as the local responsibility areas needing to have some sort of category of fire hazard severities. And so at this time, as of March 24th, they released those maps for the Southern California area, and Indian Wells, as well as pretty much all the cities in the county, have now been identified to have some sort of fire hazard severity zone. So I'm going to see how many slides I need to get to some of these details here. I'm moving.
There you go.
There we
It's
go.
now going fast.
All right.
Well done,
Hey.
thank you.
That was
Thank you,
fast.
Mr. Hedrick. It's been a pleasure.
Any questions, right?
Perfect. So specifically on this slide, everything that's in the red there was what was released on March 24th. So many counties were eagerly waiting their turn to find out just how bad, or maybe not even how bad, because some areas perceived that it would be worse than what it ended up turning out to. So just to kind of review some of those other elements, we've kind of already talked about that. Everybody understands the difference between state responsibility area and local responsibility. Pretty much in the city of Indian Wells city limit, it's all local responsibility. And so that's the perspective that we're looking at here. So side-by-side elements here. One on the right is the PDF version. It's a little hard to really associate and locate as far as what that associates to the city there, but the yellow is the moderate fire hazard severity zone, and the red would be considered the high. On the left is a screenshot of what we've made available on the County Fire Marshal's website for everybody to utilize, a GIS map layer that you can pinch and zoom. You can even enter an address and it'll pin locate to it, and we can see the entirety of specific to the parcels there. I did take the time this morning to kind of just see how many properties are in the fire hazard severity zone, whether it be moderate or high, that have not been developed yet here in the city of Indian Wells. And from the residential standpoint, it's about 12 undeveloped lots from what I can discern. So majority of Indian Wells has already been developed and built out. So as far as the possible impact for the development, we're looking at about 10 to 12 residential lots is what's perceived there. Now, if any existing structures need to do some remodels, major renovations, they might have to consider compliance with some construction standards for that. All righty. And so referencing the government code section 51179B3 there, these are the commissions that are being placed on us legislatively at the city level. We do need to review these maps. We need to make them available to the public for comment and input. However, we're restricted from making any reductions in the scale of the map, the coverage of it, or the severity of it. However, we could increase it. But Riverside County Fire Department as a whole is not looking to make any increases at this time. So to kind of break down some of the impacts for these elements, just very briefly, very high, good news. Indian Wells does not have any very high categories proposed or identified, just the high. And so just wanted to focus on that, the impacts of having a high category in those specific areas. Not only are we adopting the map, but it would be the Chapter 7A Building Code Fire Construction Requirements. What that turns out to, there's different studies that's assessed it between residential as commercial, as far as what those potential impacts are. And relatively, it's the roof construction type, which most of the roofs that are being built out here already meet the standard, pretty much, as well as siding and maybe glazing and ember screens for that. And then a disclosure. So should a property need to be sold, and it's in that, as part of the escrow closing, they would need to provide that as a disclosure, maybe even identify compliance with defensible space or construction to that level. Okay. This one's a little more finite detail. You can review it later, but focusing just on the right-hand side for the LRA, again, it's just repeating the previous slide relatively. And then this is specifically identifying homeowners in very high. Good news, we don't have to worry about defensible space here in the city of Indian Wells for that specific compliance of 100 feet defensible space. It would just be the home hardening consideration. So we don't know what the impact is going to be to the private insurance companies there, how they're going to utilize this, but it might be beneficial for property owners, homeowners to consider incorporating such things as home hardening to certainly ease the concerns of the insurance agencies. And that's for future reading material there. And that just goes into some of those examples. So home hardening, it talks about defensible space, but it gets really into the sealing the entry points for those embers, as well as direct radiant heat. And so having a proper vents, as well as the type of exterior construction elements. And then there's some questions, common questions, and then this are the approved legislative bills that brought this about. And a link there for those maps and references there. So I'll be working with city staff, city management to determine how best to make this available for the public for their comment and to share that so that we can go through the requirement for the adoption of an ordinance to accept these maps. Any questions for me?
So as I understand it right now, the only requirement is for new construction, not for any retrofitting of any existing structure. Is that right?
That is correct, yeah. So there's no requirement that they have to retroactively make these improvements. It would just be possibly a retro in the context that they're making a major renovation.
Okay.
So a re-roof or something like that, then they would need to comply.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are at our final proclamation and presentation, which is Riverside County Sheriff Department update by Indian Wells Chief Lieutenant Frank Schiavone.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City staff, and the residents. Today I'll be providing you the first quarter stats of 2025. Okay, so we had 4,176 total file numbers were drawn as of March 31st of 2025. 856 calls for service, 3,320 self-initiated files, which are property checks, anything that we do outside of calls for service or people calling the police. There were 18 total arrests made, 6 DUIs. 2 of them were a result of tennis people. 5 intoxicated or public intoxication. There was 2 of those were related to the tennis tournament, which is pretty darn good when they have over 500,000 people coming through this spectacular event with booze at every corner of the building. I think they did very, very well. Their security.
It's the same as Coachella, right? I mean,
yeah, numbers will be just as good.
You know, and Stagecoach, they
yes.
don't.
No,
Just more expensive, that's all.
Yes. 10 warrant arrests, and then there was 2,462 area checks that were conducted by either the deputies or the CSOs that are working the streets day and night. We had 0 fatalities, 1 major injury collision, 11 minor injury, and 4 non-injury traffic collisions. Deputy Hughes out there pushing 815 traffic citations for the first 3 months. I think he was off for a week too, so.
I was saying, that's quite a big drop from the 1,200 he had last quarter.
Yes.
He's my hero.
So, as I stated before, 6 DUI arrests and 2 were related to 1 too many drinks at the tennis tournament. We've had 0 homicides, 1 rape, 0 robberies, 1 aggravated assault with a total violent crimes of 2. We've had 2 burglaries. Kendall Martinez is actively, and Deputy Prajan are actively trying to solve. No auto thefts, and then the miscellaneous thefts, 10, with a total of 14 property crimes and 16 Part 1 crimes. Some of the other things that didn't make it to the screen, but that I just wanted to let you guys know that we're working hand in hand. We did work hand in hand with code enforcement in the city to clean up some of the transits that were burrowing underneath the Washington Bridge south of Miles. While I was out at tennis, I was running that sod farm north and south on the Wash, and there was a couple transient camps that will be eradicated or were eradicated. We did the distracted driver program and also a DUI checkpoint in the last 90 days here. And we've been participating in the Desert Town Hall. If you guys haven't been to the Desert Town Hall speakers, it's a phenomenal event for the community, very educating and a great event. And we also had a healthcare event here with all of the CEOs of Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So we were out there for a couple days with them too. And that will conclude my presentation. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions?
Just a comment. I had a constituent call, gosh, I think it was day before yesterday. And she was concerned about a possible stalker. So I suggested that she call the Sheriff's Department. She was put in touch with Deputy Stratton.
Okay.
He did a great job.
Great guy. He's been on about 8-10 years.
Yeah, he
Normally working the beat here during the day.
he was very reassuring to her. He took the report. He's in the process of following up, so I just want to give a shout out to him.
Well, thank you.
You bet.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Comments? Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Okay, now we've come to public comments. Members of the public who wish to speak on consent items or items not on the agenda may do so at this time. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes, and speakers will be alerted when their time is up. Once speakers have had an opportunity to speak, no further comments will be permitted. Please note that we cannot respond to public comments other than a brief question. Are there, Ms. City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, I do have one. We have Mr. Martin Lax.
Mr. Lax.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and neighbors. I have 6 or 7 suggestions, comments, concerns. I provided the clerk to provide you all a November 1959 Desert Sun news account of the naming of the street Fairway Drive. I thought you'd like to see that, and I suggest our city obtain all Board of Supervisor records and old newspaper clippings to use for our marketing efforts and to remind us of our rich history. Ideas, concerns. Golf course, hole change and renovations. A suggestion, why not have 9 holes be used to have revenue? And we can go around twice on those 9 holes instead of shutting down that whole side. Just an idea for you to ponder. We can maybe get half the revenue. Street paving and the El Dorado Palms. Notice El Dorado Palms. That's what they used to call our side of El Dorado. So there's an issue regarding the quality of the paving, uneven edges, creating, I think, a tripping hazard, greater than a 1/4 inch for sure. Also, more importantly, or maybe equally importantly, are issues regarding survey pins disappearing. I'm concerned about that, and I'm letting you all know that this needs to be looked at. And I have been in touch with Ken, and I just want you to be aware of that issue. Tennis, what a great event, great benefit we have. Just want to make a suggestion. We had three dishes. All of them had pork, and the third was mac and cheese. We have a whole wellness idea going on in our city. Maybe we can incorporate some healthy foods and not just pork. End of season resident party email. I just got that this week on April 1st. It's called mid-season resident party that is scheduled for April 10. That's not accurate nor consistent with what happened last year, which was it April 6th? It was called end of season of 24 and 23, also April 6th, end of season. And in 22, March 31, end of season. I remind this body that we criticized the timing of the level of service report regarding the quote-unquote Safer Streets project not being done in season, calling this party mid-season. Please, it's an end-of-season party. Let's be fair. Along those lines, confirmation of attending events like tennis and this end-of-season party. Usually, in the past, we used to get confirmation emails. We haven't been getting them as residents. It'd be nice to get them so that we don't have to call staff and bother them to make sure that we're registered. And I suppose now that we're doing the strategic planning, I want to remind you all that since and before the 1967 founding of our city and the Indian Wells District, that our mission was to preserve its distinct low-scale desert environment, focus on views of the mountains, and maintain an identity different from our suburban communities around us. As we go into the strategic planning process, please keep these ideals in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lax. Oh, here comes another. I do have one. Ken Samalo. I also live in the El Dorado Palms neighborhood, and I think most people that live there would agree that the street paving, which was supposed to go down, was very rough on our side, and I know it was just the slurry, but it was supposed to get smoother as time went on, but it's been a while and it's still not smooth. It's very rough, and I don't know if that's normal or if it takes longer or what, but I would appreciate if somebody would look at that, because I agree, it's dangerous to walk on those streets. It's really rough.
Thank you for that comment, Mr. Mayor. We actually are looking at it, Public Works staff and I. We've actually reached out to the contractor to have them help us analyze what's going on with the roadway. Okay. As you suggested, slurry seal is different than paving. Paving is much smoother, but we have a couple of issues that we've noticed and have been aware of thanks to the input from residents. So we are looking into that.
Great, thank you.
Mayor Whitman.
We have another public comment.
Yes, please. We have Eileen Lynch.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Eileen
Lynch. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for accommodating me. I was a few minutes late. So my name is Eileen Lynch. I am the executive director at Parkinson's Resource Organization, and I'm here today to let everyone know that we are in Parkinson's Awareness Month for the month of April. So I wanted to share a little bit of information about Parkinson's and the way it affects the Indian Wells community. It is the fastest growing, second most common neurodegenerative condition in the world, and it affects particularly aging populations. So the population of Indian Wells, average age is about 67 years old. We know that this impacts our community here in Coachella Valley in Southern California more than other places in the US. This is a uniquely, it's not unique, but it is a unique impact in Southern California. I estimate that about 150 residents of Indian Wells have Parkinson's, and there is an additional network of family and friends that are affected as well. Parkinson's is somewhat of a hidden epidemic. People tend to keep their diagnosis private, and they also tend to retreat from public life. So what I'm here to do is remind everyone that Parkinson's is a significant impact on our community, and to let you all know that there is a local resource that has been serving the community for 35 years, and we're actually located right here in Indian Wells. That is Parkinson's Resource Organization. We provide practical resources and emotional support for people with Parkinson's and caregivers who are affected by the condition. And we are funded by the generosity of our local community. My request today, take some time to familiarize yourself with the local resource for Parkinson's, which is Parkinson's Resource Organization. Think about the people you know who may be impacted by Parkinson's and make sure they know about us. We love what we do, and we're happy to serve the population that we serve, and we want to make sure that the population that's impacted by Parkinson's know that we're here for them. And then please keep the Parkinson's community in your mind as you consider funding opportunities over the coming year, including your upcoming Grants and Aid program. Thank you.
Hold on. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I didn't know we had that here in our city.
Right here behind the
She
news
said
press.
that was an estimate. That's not a hard number, right?
So the figure that I provided is based on the estimate of about 1 to 2% of the population has Parkinson's. So given that there's about 4,500 residents of Indian Wells, and also given that the population of Indian Wells trends older, and this is an age-related illness, 150 is a pretty conservative estimate. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a question. Anybody else?
Go ahead.
When you say Parkinson's resource, what are the resources that you have available?
Sure. So we have about 20 support groups a month. Some of those are specifically for caregivers. Some of those are for people with Parkinson's and caregivers. We also have exercise classes, a mindfulness group to help with managing some of the anxiety and depression that associates with Parkinson's. We have a grief group as well. Once a month, we have an educational webinar featuring an expert on some aspect of Parkinson's or living well with Parkinson's. We have a monthly podcast, an amazing YouTube channel with exercise classes that people can do at their own leisure. We have a resource directory on our website, which is full of additional information, a monthly newsletter, and I would say most valuable, if you give us a call, we will take the time to talk to you about what is impacting your life right now with Parkinson's, and we will do a one-on-one consultation with you to help problem solve and come up with some solutions.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
By the way, Grants and Aid, there's a application. I don't know who, I don't remember. Is it Brian? Are you the? Yeah.
Due July 30th, I think.
Okay. So you know you have to file a pretty strict application. All right. Okay. All right, any more comments? All right, city manager report. City manager, any reports?
I have a few, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. First, let me congratulate you and the rest of the community on a great state of the city this morning. Thank you also to the staff for a wonderful job in putting that all together, especially the city manager's department. So kudos to all of them on a job well done.
Did you just congratulate yourself?
Yes, absolutely.
City manager's department.
It's similar to the winner of the WTA from the tournament, where the last person she thanked was herself.
She wanted to thank herself.
No, it's really the city manager staff, Kristen, Michaela, and all those who helped work closely with the city council to put that event together in the greater chamber. So we're very happy with the event. Want to report the Indian Wells Golf Resort Players redesign is going extremely well. It's on time, on budget, and they only found one small artifact that the tribal monitor said is perhaps a stone used for grinding wheat or into flour. And so we did have one item. And do remember, it is slotted to open in November of 2025, and I'm sure at Strategic we'll have a discussion about some sort of a celebration that we'll be doing for that grand opening. April is going to be an extremely busy month here in the city of Indian Wells. I'm going to go through a variety of events, and we would want to encourage our resident participation. On Monday, April 7th at 5 p.m. at the Indian Wells Country Club. I want to make sure everybody understands the Indian Wells Country Club, not the golf resort. Cocoon Resort Development at Miles and Highway 111. We'll be having a community meeting to talk about that project. We'll have a similar meeting on April 28th at 4 p.m. at the golf resort. So we are doing 2 different meetings at 2 different locations to try and maximize the exposure to our community. On April 10th at 6 p.m., we've already talked about it, the resident party at the golf resort, which will be at 6 p.m., like I said. New this year is on April 14th, a Budget 101 workshop here at City Hall at 4 p.m. You'll learn about municipal finances. You'll learn where the city gets its revenue and how it is spent, and the importance of using other people's money to get projects done here in Indian Wells. And then finally, on April 17th is the city's strategic planning session at 9 a.m. at the Indian Wells Golf Resort. So April will be a very busy meeting, and we got a lot going on. So with that, concludes our updates.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of items. First of all, one of the public comment speakers mentioned that we might consider opening the players course for 9 holes worth of play. Can you explain for the benefit of the public that the entire course is being reworked in terms of irrigation, tee boxes, greens,
Certainly,
et cetera?
certainly, Councilmember Sanders. So the entire course is down because there's actually grading going on more than just on 9 holes. To your point, we are redoing all tee boxes, greens, reducing the size of sand bunkers in some places, and moving those to different locations. So
Fire road.
Fire road, thank you for that. Yes, we are adding a fire road as well. So while, you know, we are moving 2 holes, I think more than that are being, of course, being affected by the entire course. So really opening up 9 holes is just not an option, unfortunately.
Right. Second thing, in a recent IWViews email to the residents, there was some financial information on the performance of the Kestrel restaurant that was provided. I have a couple of questions about the performance of the restaurant vis-a-vis the IWViews article. First of all, during the current fiscal year, how many months was the restaurant closed for renovation?
Do you want to have Kevin?
Maybe Kevin should come up.
Between Kevin and I, I'm sure we'll answer, but I'll defer to Kevin first.
Sure.
And the question was, how many months?
How many months was the restaurant closed for renovation during the current fiscal year?
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. The restaurant was closed for 4 months, sir.
Okay, so we're now in month number 8, just past month number 8 of the fiscal year into month number 9. For about half the time, the restaurant was closed. During that period of time, how many covers were lost? That is, how many customers were lost?
Yes, sir. The restaurant reported it lost approximately 10,100 covers or patrons during that period.
So when you see a statistic about the number of covers during this fiscal year, without that explanation, you would logically conclude that the restaurant is nosediving in terms of customers, but actually it's not. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Isn't it true that the high personnel costs are attributable to the need to train hosts, waiters, waitresses, cooks, et cetera?
Yes, sir, that is true.
And these are one-time costs, correct?
Yes, this is part of the orientation to the Richard Blaze concept.
And can you quantify how much additional payroll costs were incurred by the restaurant as a result of this necessary training?
Yes, sir. The restaurant reported approximately $87,000 in additional staff time and training costs. This included the time periods for September, October, November, and then again in February when the actual Troon task force came out and did additional training effort.
Isn't it true that the restaurant is now profitable as of the last month for which an income statement has been prepared?
That's true. Beginning in February of 2025, Kestrel earned a profit of $758, edging out last year just by a little bit, which was $43,066.
Great. So in your professional view, what is the trend in patronage of the restaurant, and how is it doing financially compared to what we expected?
Sure, absolutely, sir. So we started out slow. It was a disappointment to everyone, I think. We did not hit the numbers that we originally estimated in the budget. But since January, we are beginning to improve. So beginning in January, patronage at Kestrel has surpassed that of the previous fiscal year. And in January, the restaurant served 5,790 covers compared to 5,312 covers in the prior year. Additionally, in February, we saw the same trend occurring. The restaurant served 7,699 covers compared to just 7,389 covers in the prior year. What's worth mentioning more than just the numbers, Councilmember Sanders, is that even though, to your point, the restaurant has been closed for 4 months this fiscal year, resident covers are up over 80% compared to last year. This year, through February, the restaurant Kestrel has done 5,074 resident covers compared to just 2,814 in the prior year.
Wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Anybody have any questions for our finance director? All right, thank you. All right, does anybody have an item to pull from the consent calendar?
City attorney report?
Is that here?
City attorney report.
Oh, I missed that.
It's easy to do.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's city attorney report and comment.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, the Council met earlier today in closed session to discuss the 3 items identified on the agenda. No action was taken that needs to be reported under the Brown Act. However, the Council did request that, or direct, that I report as to item D2, that's real property negotiations, in connection with the Renaissance, that the Council voted 5-0 in favor of directing the city manager to continue negotiating a potential sale of the city's easement over hole 18, and to simultaneously explore other options for the city's use of that same property within the scope of its easement. Aside from that report, I did want to mention, in light of Mr. Ramirez's report earlier, that many of our cities are concerned about SB 677. It's another Senator Wiener bill. If adopted in its present form, it would grossly expand SB 9, and it might be one that you want to put on your opposed list. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for the attorney?
Yeah, the SB 677, to be clear, that allows more than one ADU on a property, is that correct?
Sorry, thank you, Mayor and Council. To clarify, SB 9 wasn't about ADUs, it's about being able to do an urban lot split, to subdivide your lot, or to develop a second primary dwelling unit, which is similar to an ADU, but it's another primary dwelling unit. It's sometimes called the duplex bill, and that's already law, but this 677 would grossly expand that into areas beyond just single-family residential. It would be any family or any residentially zoned property, and there are a number of other aspects of it that would prevent local regulation of that kind of by right development. So just something to keep in mind, and we can provide a more detailed report to the council later if you're interested.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions for the city attorney? Comments? Okay, now the consent calendar. Does any council member want to pull an item?
Move adoption.
I was
Second
waiting. I was waiting for that.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 5-0 on the consent calendar. Next item on the agenda are public hearings. For each of the items listed under public hearing, the public will be provided an opportunity to speak. After a staff report is provided, the mayor will then open the public hearing. An applicant will be allowed 5 minutes to make a presentation on the case. Members of the public will then be allowed 3 minutes each to speak unless there are a number of persons wishing to speak, and then the mayor may deviate from that and allow less time. Are there any public comments at this point?
Well, you have to open the public hearing.
Open the public hearing.
Which item are we discussing, Mr. Mayor? H1?
H1, staff presentation, which is annual levy and engineer's report for the Indian Wells Street Lighting District number 2000-1.
Thank you.
Mr. McCarthy.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Annually, the City Council is required to conduct a public hearing to be able to approve the collection of levies for the Indian Wells Street Lighting District. The district provides public street lighting services to a portion of the village area which is adjacent to Fred Waring Drive and Warner Trail. Staff recommends that the mayor open the public hearing, take any public comment, close the public hearing, and then simply adopt the resolution as it's presented. And of course, I'm available for any questions you have, sir.
Thank you. We now open the public hearing. Ask for any public comments.
No public comments.
So we will close the public hearing.
Move the recommended action.
Any second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Item H2, final annual levy report for landscape and lighting district number 91-1 for the fiscal year 2025-26 and ordering the levy and collection of assessments. Mr. McCarthy.
Thank you again, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The city is also responsible for the collection of levies for 17 individual landscape and lighting districts located primarily along Highway 111. The total cost this year to operate the districts has risen by about 4% and totals $1,970,000. Again, staff recommends that the mayor open the public hearing, take any public comment, close the public hearing, and then simply adopt the resolution as it's presented.
Thank you,
And I'm
Mr.
available
McCarthy.
for any questions, sir.
Council, we open the public hearing. Any public comments?
No public comments.
Close the public hearing.
Move the recommended action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item H3, annual levy and engineer's report for the Drainage Maintenance Benefit Assessment District number 1.
Thank you again, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Again, the City Council is required to hold this public hearing to be able to approve the levies for the Drainage District, which is located in the province community. The district reflects the maintenance costs for nuisance water runoff and its retention. Staff recommends that the mayor open the public hearing, please take any public comment, close the hearing, and adopt the resolution as it's presented.
We will open the public hearing. Any public comments?
No public comments.
Close the public hearing. Anyone have a motion?
Councilman Reed, you are honored.
Move adoption.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
The next item is general business. The mayor will call upon members of the public to address the council regarding this agenda item. After the public has provided comment, the item is closed to further comment and brought to the council for discussion and action. We have one item of business today, which is I.1, City Monument at Indian Wells Lane. Staff presentation, Mr. Samala.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. I'm Ken Samala, your Public Works Director. The item before you today is regarding the Indian Wells Lane Golf Resort Monument sign located on the north side of Indian Wells Lane, on the north side of Highway 111 at Indian Wells Lane. In September of 2021, a car accident destroyed the previous sign, which advertised for the golf resort, Hyatt, and Renaissance resorts. The sign that's out there today is a temporary sign that was installed immediately after the car accident. In 2024, staff advertised to replace the monument sign with a temporary structure, this one shown here. Bids received were well over twice the budget of $100,000. So in the interest of including public art and seeking alternative funding sources, staff researched alternatives including artwork. This sign is only a concept, but could use 100% Art in Public Places funds. So I'm going to shift gears. Separately, in January of 25, the council instructed staff to meet with representatives of the Grand Hyatt and Renaissance Esmeralda to talk about a complete redesign or refresh of the fountains on either side. As stated in the staff report, the fountains on either side, east and west of Indian Wells Lane, belongs to a lighting and landscape maintenance district, which members include the city, Grand Hyatt, and Renaissance Esmeralda. Now, that does not include the monument sign in the roadway. Staff met with the LLMD representatives to discuss the options and their interest in cost sharing for the upgrade of the fountains, and they are currently talking to their ownership regarding interest in participating with that change. So I'll bring this all together in this slide. Staff is seeking your direction for several options. They're numbered, but they're not preferential number. They're just 4 options. Option 1 is to approve the public art bronze monument that you saw first, and I can scroll back if you like, and appropriate $250,000 in Art in Public Places funds. Option 2 would be to approve the redesign, the fire and water idea, and appropriate $200,000 of general fund. You can instruct staff to conduct a request for proposal to develop an alternative sign. The 4th option is to approve construction in replicating the previous sign that was hit by the car and appropriate $100,000 in general funds. You can postpone the sign replacement, and we can do all 3, both the fountains and the sign in coordination with each other. And we'll go back to the LLMD memberships to make discussions and then come back to you with alternatives or provide an alternative option for staff. As I said, I can scroll back to the options if you want to see them again. That concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, may I make a suggestion? There have been some discussions internally about branding. They were initiated largely by Dr. Taylor. And so it would be imprudent to adopt a sign configuration now that could be inconsistent with branding that we may want to adopt in the future. So question I have is if we were to postpone a decision on this, how much time do we have?
As long as we have not received complaints on the temporary sign that's in place today, so we have the pleasure of the council, and as long as the process takes to rebrand.
Anybody else?
Yes, additionally, if the fountains are rehabbed or refaced or whatever they decide to do, I would think it'd be prudent to have the monument tie into those. Sure. So making any decision on that today without knowing what we're going to do on the fountains is a good idea.
Mr. Reed.
I have a question. Have we identified the person that destroyed the old sign, and does he or she have any resources to reimburse us for our costs or insurance?
I think Mr. McCarthy can respond to it. We did have a claim against that, and they were financially responsible to the tune of $90,000.
Yes, sir. We were reimbursed thanks to the efforts of our finance director at the time, the risk manager, and the city was paid $90,000 for the damage.
And do we have the money, or do we have to then collect it, or what do we do?
How we spend it.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor and Council, yes, so we have received, the city has received the $90,000. We have that in reserve for this project. And also, the 90,000 was based on a 100% refund, or from whatever from what was paid for the original sign. We paid 90,000 to do the original construction, and we received all of those funds back.
Well, good, that's important information. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Yeah, when you talk about the fountains, yeah, are you talking about the fact that they've just come to their natural lives with regard to pumps and water leakage and stuff like that?
Yes, sir, and the deterioration of the stonework.
Got it. So, there you go. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I do it.
Oh, sorry, one more. Art funding. What's available to art funding? Do you know?
That's a great question. I did some research. The funding is an easy answer. I coordinated with our finance director, and we have $685,000 available in the art fund to participate. The more difficult question was the definition of art. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, art is a visual object or experience consciously created through an expression of skill or imagination.
Yeah.
I think a better definition was from Oxford Dictionary. The expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form, such as painting, sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty and emotional power. You're asking an engineer, so.
Well, what does our attorney say? I mean, this is a matter of state law, isn't it?
I am staying so far away from the answer to that question. I'm married to an artist, so.
Okay, well, I guess we're not going to, I have a question. So I think it would be, I don't know if we could consider branding and get the new monument by the time the new players course opens. Would that be possible, do you think?
I don't believe it would be possible in order to.
Okay, so what I have talked to the city manager about, and what I think is important, especially when we're redesigning it, the purpose of a monument sign is to advertise what's inside the golf resort, right? I mean, we're telling people what's there.
I believe the monument sign is to let everyone know where the campus is, and then we would have directional signs to show what amenities are there.
Right. But when people are driving by at 50 or 80 or however fast they're driving on 111.
Yeah, no, not with Officer Yu.
With Officer Yu and Hot Pursuit. It seems to me that we should put on the sign what's contained inside the golf resort that's ours, the city, which would include the golf resort itself, Kestrel, the players course, the celebrity course, Shots in the Night, so that people who are driving by know that that's what's in there. Because I've heard many comments over the years that people didn't have any idea what that meant, the golf resort, and didn't know what was in there. So I don't know if it's possible to have a design or a monument that's large enough and wide enough and tall enough to conclude all that information, but I would like to look into that.
We can certainly include that in the research. However, when the engineering staff put changeable message signs to give warning on construction and things like that, people are driving the speed limit 45, 50 miles an hour, and our experience is 4 lines at the most is something that people can comprehend. Typically 3 is more efficient for people to see at those speeds and then understand what's coming up. But we can certainly look at it and talk to experts.
I don't know what anybody else thinks. I just think that it's better to say what's in there so people know that if people are going to play golf, they know that there's a player's course and a celebrity course.
Yes, sir.
I don't, that's what I think.
Well, if it's big enough, then the car won't run it over.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask about the art in public places. Are there monies set aside for that, and do we have a time limit to use them?
There is a time limit. The Art in Public Places Fund is supposed to be funded by development, and I believe it's a 5-year limit. There's a 5-year limit to those funds.
When did the clock start on that?
At various times, depending on when the fee was submitted to the city. So we can get a calendar of different funds.
If I may add, we're also doing projects now with public art funds. We're proposing whether it be projects at the golf course as part of the redesign, but there's also some discussion at your upcoming strategic planning session too.
And that's a great point the city manager makes. We did use art and public places funds for the seating at the park.
So we don't want to let it sit there. We want to use
no,
it,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So I would move that we delay any approval of this until we get, branding re-efforts and
Second.
response
Before there's a
from
motion and a
hotels to-
second, sorry to interrupt,
please.
Councilmember.
No, please.
We ought to invite public comment.
That's a good idea.
Yes. Is there any public comment?
I have not received.
Open
no.
the public hearing. Is there any public comment?
No, there is not.
Donna's got a
Oh,
public
there's someone
comment.
coming.
Yes,
I
there
see
is.
someone.
Yes, there is.
There is.
Donna, you got to fill out a form.
Come on down.
Exactly.
Come on down.
Put her on the clock, will you, please?
It's like the Price is Right. Come on
Donna
down.
Griffith, Indian Wells resident, contrary to what some people say. And so while you're working on this sign, my hope and prayer would be that it won't be a digital sign. And so we initially talked about that, and some of us in the audience are worried that you might think about a digital sign there, like a little Vegas thing. And I don't believe that's on brand for the city of Indian Wells. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I think there's a motion
Yeah.
to defer for some time to give staff an opportunity.
Until we get responses back from the hotels and until we get our
Some
branding.
branding, strategic planning and so on. We'll defer it, maybe bring it back at the May meeting. Would that be enough time? No?
We'll get through strategic planning, see what the discussion is about branding first, and then we'll have a discussion with the council.
Do we have a motion?
Yes.
We do have a motion.
I second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you,
5 to
sir.
nothing.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. All right, so council members' reports and comments. Councilmember Sanders.
Thank you, Mayor Whitman. I was at the Animal Campus Commission meeting this morning representing the city of Indian Wells. The only thing that I can report is that the commission has adopted a goal of achieving a no-kill shelter status. That sounds easy. It's not. It's a significant expenditure to get from where the shelter is now to where the commission wants it to be. All I can say is I'll keep you posted. The Cove Community Services Commission is meeting on April 16th, 9:30 a.m. here in the Indian Wells City Council chamber. The commission is focused on how the 3 member cities, that is Indian Wells, Palm Desert, and Rancho Mirage, can better share their resources and band together to save money by all 3 bidding on certain items that are common to the 3 cities under the theory that higher quantities result in lower prices, lower unit prices. The Indian Wells Finance and Legal Oversight Committee is meeting April 7th. That's Monday at 3 p.m. to consider amendments to the city's gift-giving and contracts policies. And the Indian Wells Public Safety Committee will be meeting April 16th at 3 p.m. here at City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Where are we here? Who's next?
That's me.
Councilmember Penna.
All right. Tomorrow, visit Greater Palm Springs meeting. I'll update everybody on that. I am going to inquire about the air quality tomorrow, but since all the other mayors are going to be there, which will be a good opportunity. Second, the mid-season party sold out in a record time of about 6 hours. So that's 350 tickets in 6 hours. That's pretty amazing. And lastly, we do have an event coming up for the Indian Wells Preservation Foundation that's partnered with the city. It's the Modernism Week. Keynote speaker is CEO Lisa Vossler-Smith. And it's not sold out, so there's still space available for the Tuesday, April 8th, here at the City Council from 2 to 4. So I think it's going to be a great time for people to come in and learn even further about modernism. So please, let's get the word out and get the tickets sold, and let's get this in motion. Appreciate it.
Councilmember Taylor.
So CVAG was dark in the month of March. We had a Riverside County Transportation Commission meeting. Nothing specific affecting us here to report. The Indian Wells Golf Resort, as Chris noted, on time, on budget, opening in November. One Indian artifact that didn't stop any of the production of the revised architecture of the golf course. Separate note, I spent a day with both our fire department and our police department going around in their brand new spanking vehicles. It was eye-opening, and one of the things that I noted from the fire situation was not all of our, but many of us wear new Apple Watches, and those watches have an emergency button that is often accidentally pressed. And I personally went out on at least one call, which is not insignificant, firing up a truck, putting a fireman in a truck, going to a place where an emergency allegedly is happening, but where there's no one. And so I think that we should all figure out how to manage our digital devices carefully, because obviously the time and cost and energy of the fire department should be reserved for fires and imminent danger. The police, I thought, was also very eye-opening, and I think that based on us having one of the safest streets here, I look forward to having, or cities in California, let alone Coachella Valley, I would argue, and look forward to speaking in our strategic plan about allocation of police funds, et cetera, to improve essential items like speeding and those matters that directly affect our daily lives, versus looking for burglars that aren't there. I would also love to have Angelica maybe talk for a minute here. I think there's some dates coming up for applications for committees to serve that I'm sure those who want to be on committees who are proactively taking those dates out, but I do think it would be good to share some dates with regard to potential committee openings that are coming up. I believe there's one in airport and one in housing, and there may be one coming up in golf in June. Angelica, do you have any feedback there?
And planning will come up later in the year.
No worries. I didn't mean to spring this upon you.
Can I interject, Bruce? Can I interject?
Sure.
I missed something. Okay, back to Brian. I missed one thing. The author speaker series was delayed due to an illness, and the rescheduled date for that is April 29th, 2025 at 4 o'clock. So hopefully everybody knows that, and everybody that has tickets will join us for that event. Thank you.
Well, perhaps Angelica can just send us another email. You did send it to us before, but we can always get it a second time.
Yes, I have it on my staff report.
Okay,
That was on the consent agenda today. So, yes, we do have 9 appointments to be considered. So we have a Community Activities Committee that's going to have 2 openings. We have one that's termed out, another member that's going to be up for reappointment. For the Golf Resort Advisory Committee, I have 1 reappointment and 1 that's terming out, so that's 2 positions. I have on Grants and Aid, we have 2 that are terming out, so I need 2 positions for Grants and Aid Committee. 1 on housing, we have 2 on Housing Authority Commission, so 1 for each housing, senior housing. So we have 1 at the Mountain View Villas and 1 at the Indian Wells Villas. And then finally, the Palm Springs Airport Commission will open up for 1 reappointment for that one as well.
But that's a reappointment, right?
That's a reappointment. The current member has stated he might not be taking on a second term, but we are to find out. Applications do open tomorrow. The community will receive an email tomorrow with the application that you can fill out. The deadline to submit is Wednesday, April 30th at 5 p.m. Our goal for the council is to make appointments in June. So the interviews will be from May 5th through May 30th. And we'll work with our ad hoc council to call everyone once we close the applications on the 30th.
So just as a point of clarity, the April 30th date is for all those potential committee appointed.
Correct. We're interviewing
appointments.
from we're starting interviews from May 5th through May 30th. We're closing the application process. We're opening up the applications tomorrow, April 4th, and closing them on April 30th. That
And
gives
is-
the people enough time.
Is an email going to go out to residents?
It goes out tomorrow with a live link to apply, and you can make your selections. We asked the public only apply up to 2 committees. That's
And it'll identify all the opening positions?
correct, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Point of clarification, on the Airport Commission, is it our policy that if the incumbent wishes to be reappointed, that we automatically reappoint that person?
They do have to go through the council policy. They do have to reapply, go through the formal process. In the past, we've had members not secure their spots, so we're left with no members attending, whether circumstances change. So they do have to go through the application process. It is their purview if they would like to interview. They don't have to, but it is recommended.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope,
Councilmember?
thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Reed.
Okay, on my list, let's see, can we get it on the screen here? SCAG, Southern California Association of Governments, 2 things. Number 1, it is meeting early in May. Their annual meeting will be held in Palm Desert in early May before our next meeting. And I would like to remind the clerk that Commissioner Topper Taylor has taken my place, so that needs to come off of my list and put on his, but that's set for early May. CVAG Conservation and Energy is meeting later this month. Desert Rec, we haven't had anything. Marketing Committee, Finance, as has been told earlier, is meeting next week, and that's the extent of my committees.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
I would like to say I am also on the Los Angeles-San Diego Rail Corridor Agency. That is an appointment I have from RCTC, and it's not on here because it's not a city appointment. It's a county RCTC appointment, but that's the organization that if we ever can get passenger rail service from here to Los Angeles and or San Diego County, Orange County, excuse me, that would be the organization that would actually run the service.
Okay, thank you. For myself, the Coachella Valley Economic Partnership, where I am on the board and the executive committee, has been meeting frequently. There are several things going on there. Most importantly, looking for a new director, executive director, or CEO, or whatever the nomenclature may be. And that meeting is coming up next week. In fact, they had a meeting of the executive committee this morning. There's a consultant report on what's going on with the economic partnership. CVAG Executive Committee is coming up the last Monday of the month. Cove Communities, I think Councilmember Sanders told us about that. Desert Sands, when is that meeting, Chris? I think you mentioned it earlier.
I know we do it twice a year, so I'll follow up with staff to see when that's next scheduled.
Okay. Golfer Advisory Committee, Councilmember Taylor has touched on that. Nothing with the Personnel Committee or T Committee. I've been to several meetings of the Sunline Transit Agency, which is really a great agency. They run all the buses and disability, mobility, and so on, transportation for the county. It's a well-run agency, and very, very zero emission with hydrogen-powered buses and also compressed natural gas. And they recently have finally, they had some litigation going on, that's done. But anyway, it's a great agency. They do such a great service for our valley, for people to move up and down, especially on 111. And that's about it. We're adjourned. Our next meeting is strategic planning, to be held at 9 a.m. on April 17th at the Indian Wells Golf Resort. And by the way, that's not just strategic planning for the city, it's also for the Indian Wells Golf Resort as well in the afternoon.
And the housing.
And housing. And housing authority. Okay.
Thank you very much.